morning, Artesia, and County Commissioner John Henry is here. And
yes, sir.
You run for office, and you're county commissioner. I was looking at the primary election results from last night, and
Right.
Jim Townsend, unopposed in the Republican primary.
Yes, sir.
There was a Libertarian write-in candidate who
Right.
got 0 votes.
I saw that. Yes. I
Do
thought that
they
was
just
hilarious.
go
They
away?
Forgot to vote for themselves. So it doesn't bode well for the general. No.
So, and it was a write-in candidate. So, if Boone doesn't get any votes, then Boone's not on the ballot in November. Then
I
right?
don't know the answer to that. I thought the same thing last night. Since it wasn't a primary, do they automatically get to be on the general? That'd be a good question for Representative Townsend, because I don't know the answer to that. But
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I thought, well, my goodness, you didn't even go vote for yourself. But I don't know if you go on the general as a write-in still. I don't know if that write-in status stays the whole time. That's a question I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'd be interested.
Now, it looks like Jimmy Mason.
Yes, sir.
He's going to have to mount a campaign.
Right.
The Andrew Kennedy, and I don't know Andrew.
I forgot where he said they were from. Maybe Local Hills area, or
I think that's
can't
right.
remember.
Yeah, but he got 5 votes.
I saw that.
So at least he, hopefully, his family.
Yeah, at least somebody did. I mean, if you're on the ticket, go vote for yourself at least. So,
yeah.
Huh.
So Jimmy's going to have to, gear up and get ready to run a
Right.
general campaign.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You looked at the results of the election last night. I've been kind of looking at it. And if you just look at the raw numbers, uncontested race for governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham, 124,000 votes.
Right.
Obviously, Democrats have a majority of the registered voters in the state.
Right.
Ron Keddy, 68,000 votes in a contested primary with 4 other candidates. If you add up all the Republican votes together, it's only 116,000.
Right.
Republicans did turn out in a higher percentage to vote than Democrats did, 28% to 20%. But again, Republicans had the one contested race. But then you look at the May 31st number here, 22% of voters in New Mexico are independent or don't declare a party affiliation. Right. That's almost as many as Republicans.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know what to think about how this is going to translate into the November general election.
Yeah, and probably kind of like what you were talking about this morning. I was going through as counties were putting up some results last night. I was looking at counties that interest me to say, okay, let's see how this candidate performed in this county as opposed to, whether it be in the congressional races or, of course, governor race was super interesting to me. So maybe how is that going to transition into the general, and what do we look? And obviously, once you hit the general, it obviously changes a great deal because Democrats can vote for Republicans, and hopefully that's it. Hopefully we don't lose a lot to the other side because we can't afford to. If you're a Republican voter, you're hoping to gain from that other side because they do have the majority in the state. So it'll be super interesting. But yeah, I was doing the same thing last night. Okay, they performed pretty well in this, they're counties that traditionally Republicans have a hard time in, and some of them they performed really well in. So I was surprised to see that and excited to see that. And
sure, because Jim was saying yesterday that, they're hoping to flip enough House seats in November to have Republicans take over control of the House in New Mexico. And you wonder how much the red wave, if there is going to be a red wave, how much of it, how diluted will it get when it gets here? Yeah. And then the other thing that's this just really bugs me about the whole gerrymandering of the districts and the congressional level. Now the one bright spot to me is seeing that in District 1, Republicans, between the 2 candidates that were up for that seat, total votes was about 100 more than the Democrat got. Yeah. So that to me is a good sign.
Well, and if you remember in that race, she took over for
Deb Haaland.
So that was an interesting race then because it was kind of one of those late ones. who knows about the turnout. So I do hope that we can have and of course, like you said, with the gerrymandering and then picking up more down here, maybe it's going to not be as good idea for them after all when we might pick up 2.
Sure. Now, when you look at District 2, however, which is Yvette Harrell's district,
right,
and will still be that district when she runs for it in November, she got 28,000 votes, and the 2 Democrats running got 31,000 votes.
Yeah.
And so that is a little scary.
A little scary, but very close. I mean, for as much gerrymandering that had happened, that's within 3,000. That's makes me feel a little better than maybe if we would have seen this huge spread of, so they did pick up some crazy little precincts or something to pick up big numbers.
Right. And then, of course, in District 3, which is what Artesia is going to be when the new Congress sits, looks like we need to get to know Teresa Ledger Fernandez. So, stranger things have happened, and we'll see, because right now there's a lot of people across the country and even in New Mexico that are very angry about the economic situation, whether it's the price of gas or baby formula or stuff like that. There's a lot of angry people that aren't happy, and that's what's leading people to predict that there's going to be a red wave. So maybe when it comes to November, if unless something changes, and something always could change,
right?
These folks in District 2 specifically, but especially in District 3, maybe there'll be enough that are just going to say, no, you got a D by your name. You ain't done a good job. We're moving on to somebody else.
Well, and I mean, the things you're talking about are federal level, obviously, with baby formula and all that. But if you look at the state, I think there's a lot of unsettledness, whatever you want to call it, in the state as far as with the open border. Because of the drugs coming through, a lot of folks are making comments on that, and a lot of that, those 2 districts are going to float right along that side, and I think people are really worried. I mean, when we're busting as much fentanyl as we are, and some of the major issues that are happening there. I mean, yesterday I was watching on the news another caravan coming. I mean, so
15,000.
Our state has a lot of, just within the state, where we're not getting a lot of help from local state officials really helping us understand what are we doing. I mean, they're kind of dumping that on counties and cities, and counties and cities are really struggling, especially along that border where they don't have the resources we do. I mean, Eddy and Lee are very lucky to have the monies we do to kind of combat some of this stuff. Those folks really don't. They don't have the economy quite like we do. And so it'll be interesting to see how, obviously we've seen, our schools, that's been a huge topic since especially Corona with the shutdown. But even before that, we were still ranked at the bottom every single year. I think through Corona, people have really woken up to that even more so. So it'll be interesting to see how on federal level, obviously I think you see a red wave across the country possibly. On the state level, I think hopefully Representative Townsend's correct, and people see, hey, it's been going on for a long time and nothing seems to be changing. At some point, we have to look and say, there's only been one group in charge for I think like 100 years, really, and something needs to change within the state just to see if maybe we can start pulling up from some of these low numbers, and we got to do something. I mean, you can't continue to impact the cities and counties the way you are.
Well, that's kind of the definition of insanity.
Exactly.
Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result.
Absolutely.
And that's it's insane where we are in some of this. Let me ask you this from the county standpoint: when the machines that are used to tabulate the ballots. And it's a really efficient system, and it's been used by the county for quite a while. But there's been a lot of talk about, issues from the last general election.
Right.
And there's been accusations about Dominion Software, and the governor has a contract and stuff. What is the situation in Eddy County? Where do you guys get your machines, and how is that all
That would be a
done?
great county clerk question that I didn't ask her yesterday, and I should have before I got here.
I'm sorry.
But I can ask the county clerk and find that out. I do know they get audited because she does say that, because we'll do gosh, I forgot the word, what we do next Tuesday, canvassing next Tuesday. And she will show, hey, our machines, here's where we were, here's what happened. If some of the ballots didn't go through, here's where they were counted. And usually that's just a small handful that maybe didn't work, and you can see where it got tabulated in, and then they get audited on that. And our county has always done had a very good audit and never had any trouble. But that's a great question, and I'll definitely ask her and be able to speak on that.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, because it may have nothing to do with anything going on in Eddy County.
Right.
But, it's in the news. And,
Sure.
And so people talk about it. And then they
and we
wonder.
want to make sure when you go cast your vote that you feel confident your vote counted in the right spot, and nobody else magically got counted that never voted. So,
That's right.
we want to make sure all that's clean.
Yeah.
So.
I was being a smart aleck yesterday. I walked up and I said, "I'm back."
Yeah.
And she said, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, "Well, I voted the last time, and so I'm back to vote this time."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No. I voted in early in this one. Does that count? I thought there was a rule. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I guess there was. I guess there is a rule or something like that.
So.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens in November, because now the things are settled. So when you guys canvass the vote, I guess you'll be able to verify that the gentleman did not get any votes.
Right. Yeah. Well, that should be. I guess that would be a little bit here, huh? Because it picks up Eddy County just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
So
you're right. So
that'll be on there, and
it'll
then
be on there.
He'll have to verify and certify that
He got zero.
he got zero.
Yeah, he didn't know it was election day. He forgot.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder how often that happens. Yeah, I'll run and then don't vote.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Well, and it is interesting. I can understand people not declaring a party affiliation.
Sure.
Makes total sense. A lot of people like to say, I don't want to get involved in the party politics. I judge each candidate, and, I make my decision when I vote on election day. I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's the libertarians that I don't understand. I mean, they run candidates.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be a factor in this election this year.
No.
But they have been in the past when Gary
Sure.
Johnson ran and
Absolutely.
other people ran. But that's not going to be an issue. Miss Bodine.
Yeah.
Bedoni.
Yeah.
Started as a Republican, didn't get any traction there, changed to Libertarian, got 7.2% of the Libertarian vote
Right.
turned out for her. I just don't see her being a factor
Yeah.
in the general election as Gary Johnson was a couple of years ago, and
Right.
and all that. So
Well, and it's still interesting to me how many folks still are trying to understand the election cycle and how it works. Because, I can remember the first time I ran as commissioner, a bunch of my friends went to vote, and they said, "You're not on the ballot." I said, "What do you mean I'm not on the ballot?" I said, "I already voted. I'm on the ballot, I promise you." Nope, you're not. I said, "Who was on your ballot?" "Well, we couldn't vote at all in that." I said, "Well, are you a Democrat?" "Yeah." "Well, it's prime." And so a lot of folks still are a little confused because, we're going to go vote for Republicans and they're independents. Now, this time, obviously, the rules changed where you could switch your party if you were independent and vote in the primary. But a lot of folks don't pay attention to what party they are and when they go vote. So I think that's where it'll be interesting when we were talking earlier. What do those numbers mean? How many independents did that and switched? And how many of them just didn't vote yesterday and they're going to wait for the general? And when they do, where do they go?
and I wonder how many people knew that they could switch and were
Yeah.
insistent about doing that
Right.
At their polling place,
Yeah.
because that's work
It is.
on the polling place
It's work on the polling and yourself, and then you've got to go back in to switch yourself back to independent. And so some people might not have, and as you said, that's a big percentage. So where does that percentage fall? That could affect a lot of these races in a big way. I mean, I could see a lot of independent in District 2. I can see a lot in District 1 on the congressional. So it'll be interesting to see where those folks fall and their thoughts on what's
Yeah.
going on. And you see it across country, I guess. Those independents are a big part of the vote that can really sway one way or the other.
And they are. They're as of May 31st, 22.6% of the registered voters
It's a
in New
huge
Mexico
percentage.
is declined or did not, decline to select.
Yeah.
We saw a DTS. One of our people had DTS on their registration card.
Oh, yeah.
And we were, well, is that a disease?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, what happened?
Should we be putting our masks on? You got
Yeah.
you got DTS.
Exactly. Yeah.
Isn't that something that kills bugs? That was
All
one
of a
of the
sudden, everyone's
suggestions.
scooting away. What's wrong?
And then we looked it up, and it was declined to select.
Decline to select.
is what
I'll be
that was.
okay.
All right.